Good day, prosperity practitioner. How are you today? It's Brandon Hanley, the voice of a generation. Like the Pepsi. What was the cola that was I don't even know. This morning where I am right now, and I woke up this morning really early. Early for me is 5 a.m. Not sure about you. Early for me is 5 a.m. And I woke up this morning so that I could have a conversation with somebody who works for Bob Proctor, who's one step removed, one step next to Bob Proctor. Got up. I had a little difficulty sleeping because I had two things in mind. One was that it was going to be a high-pressure sales environment to try and get me to come on to be a consultant for Bob Proctor. If you're not familiar with Bob Proctor, he was in the Law of Attraction. He's been doing that type of work for 50 years now. And he worked with Earl Nightingale and Nightingale Corporation. And the gentleman I spoke to this morning will be on the podcast, but he's doing the same thing that Bob Proctor did, where he just says, hey, I want to go work with this guy. I want to go do what Bob Proctor does. And so he and I had a conversation this morning. He wasn't able, he'd sent me an email like in the middle of the night that I didn't read because I was sleeping. But he had some things that he wanted to tend to this morning, and that was his wife and his family. And I resonated with it really hard, and I was really excited because he didn't, and he kind of made a mockery too. I'm pouring myself a little coffee here since that didn't happen. I had a cup of coffee in here just so that I could have the conversation with them instead of waking up my family this morning. They're still asleep in the house, but I figured I'd come in here and I would do a prosperity practice podcast while I am still in the truck. I am not driving right now. One of the reasons why I do a lot of the podcasts in the vehicles, because it allows me to kind of give the fullness of how I'm feeling without disturbing my family or anything like that. So I hope you can appreciate that. All this is being said because I'm pulling one of Bob Proctor's quotes this morning, and it is, see yourself living in abundance and you will attract it. It always works. It works every time with every person. See yourself living in abundance and you will attract it. It always works. It works every time with every person. Well, that sounds like a 100% guarantee to me. And how do you prove that out? How do you prove that out? It also reminds me of Ron Burgundy's Anchorman when Brian Fontana is putting on the Sex Panther cologne. That's also what it reminds me of. But that's not what we're here for, and that's not what we're doing. You know, the story of Bob Proctor is an interesting one. He goes and he talks about how he has no college education. He goes and he talks about how anyone can do it. And he tells some really good stories just about his whole adventure on how he got to where he is. He's been doing it for quite some time. And when you're in this space and I was talking to some of the gentlemen this morning. I'm just choosing not to release his name because he's too follow at a certain point, and when he does, then I will. Bob Proctor's been in the space for so long, but I was talking to this gentleman this morning, and it's not necessarily the law of attraction, which he cited as the secondary law, the primary law being law of vibration. And when you resonate with something, it is because there is a certain vibration that you're in tune with. When you resonate with something, you are receiving that thing's vibrations, that thought, that feeling, etc. And when you see yourself living in abundance, you're tuning yourself to see abundance. You are tuning yourself to see abundance. It's the same thing as tuning in your radio dial, which I don't think anybody does anymore. I could be wrong. I know I haven't done it for quite some time. I don't bother. I don't care for commercials. For years now, all I've done is listen to audio on, I listen on Google Play. My wife listens to satellite radio. It's still, you're tuning into a certain set signal. It's the same as going and typing in, what do I want to see in Google today? Today I want to see abundance. You never go in and type abundance into a search engine and it comes back with lack. Tell me how many times that happens for you. And seeing yourself in abundance, you attract it. You see it. You are in harmony with it. And when you're in harmony with something, you're not necessarily on the same exact plane or level or tune with it. You still got your own distinct voice, and you are your own distinct person and thing, but everything else around you is in perfect harmony with you. I'm trying to think of a better word and how to display that. There's a sensation that you get, and every time I say there's a sensation, I think of the York peppermint patty, so you're gonna have to forgive me on my trigger words and whatnot. But it works every time. And when you don't see yourself in abundance, when you don't see the abundance that you're looking for immediately, it's because you're not seeing yourself with abundance. You're not allowing yourself to see it. You can't see two pictures at the same time. If you've ever developed photography, or if you've ever used film and you had to wind and rewind it yourself, and for some reason the winder in the camera didn't work properly, you'll know that the film gets stuck, and when you shutter when you're shutter, I'm hearing a weird noise in the background. I just want to make sure it goes away. Who knows? when your film gets stuck and you go and you click another picture and you go to develop it, you'll see 2 or 3 pictures on the same frame. Not a single one of them is clear, though. Not a single. It's very interesting. It can be cool. If it's done intentionally, you can do some really nice overlays. But when it's not done on purpose, there's confusion. What is this picture? How does this even work? I don't get it. What happened here? And when you don't do it on purpose, again, there's confusion. There's disarray. There's, I thought this one was the perfect picture. Maybe you were trying to capture your sister at her wedding, your brother in action, your mother, loving your sibling lovingly, and you're trying to capture a moment, and you got this ideal picture in your mind, and you click it, and you go to look at it again, and you've triple and double exposed all these things. Now you can't attract. It's a mess. It's a mess. That's not what you were trying to attract, because when you're not able to see yourself in abundance, because immediately your thoughts go to, oh, I don't deserve this. I didn't work that hard for this. I need to accomplish all of these things in order for that to happen. And you got this messy, slop-on picture of what it means and is what is necessary. And instead, if you could just see yourself as abundant and allow the universe to let that unfold in your life, that's what'll work. That's what you're allowing for. That's what you're setting up. One singular picture of yourself being prosperous and in abundance is all you need. What is that picture? See it and know that it's true. Know that it exists right now. That exists right now. I want you to close your eyes. Unless you're driving, then pull over. Then close your eyes. Even if you're at work, nobody's really paying attention to you. And if you're listening to this at work, then you probably got headphones on. And for 10 seconds, close your eyes and see prosperity and abundance only in your life. What is the singular picture where that works? I had a friend, I still have a friend, Gerald, who would go to the BMW shop, sit in the i8, and just soak it in. And that was his vision, and he would do it. You know, you can go do this too. But imagine yourself, and so he would sit in that car, and that was his vision of knowing that everything else that was required to get to that point had been accomplished. All of his bills were paid. He had a house. All of his house bills everything was paid. Everything was taken care of. And now he was able to also have his dream car. What is the singular picture of you in your abundance? Imagine that, because as you see yourself living in abundance and you will attract it, it always works. It works every time with every person. Brought to you by Bob Proctor.